Alright, let's get this started. This party started. Let's fade that out there. Pause this for later. How's everybody doing out there? This is pretty good. Pretty good if you're long Bitcoin here, isn't it? Not too shabby of a weekly close. Not too shabby of a weekly close. A bullish engulfing. The one thing about crypto is if you have good data feeds, you should never get a gap because, you know, it doesn't have a time where there can be gaps because it doesn't trade off hours like equities. But this is a beautiful bullish engulfing. Look at that bullish push right up to the top. No give. Huge green candle. That's very bullish, and it closed right above these other weekly levels right here, which was also interesting that we already, with that last little push in a few minutes, took that out. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. So we'll talk about that. Yeah, the news. I've got some rum. Yep, we got late night crypto and rum here. I should have probably named the session appropriately. Got a nice full glass. Actually, this is the rest of my Boom Boo XO, which is probably my most popular late night crypto and rum because it's what's really accessible there. It's a good sipping rum. I like it. It's easy to get to. I can pull it out real quick and get on live. All right. Well, so we'll talk more about that. Let's take a look at comments here. Pump the jam. I'm gonna pump my own jam here. Let's see here. I'm gonna play some hand clap by the fits and the tantrums if y'all wanna follow along on your own. I don't like getting sued for stuff. We'll start with that for now. But yeah, so Jordan posted this, and you know I have to eat crow or I have to eat crow, and it helps when you're like kind of on the right side of things, but you're still eating crow. Obviously, I've been talking a lot of how I don't trade the exact fractals of past cycles and everything else, right? I'm looking at current price action, and I take action on current price. I let this type of thing play. But if this actually dips like this, especially if we come up here and get a dip, like let's see here, when would that be? The 30th of July, we get a little dip on the 30th back to this level we just broke out at right here, something like that. If we dip down, you know, you keep going for the next day or two and come back into this level that we just set, and then resume off of there and have some big run, that will be just crazy. This part of it right here will be crazy accurate. That's insane. But we'll see. I don't know. If I would have banked on this the whole way, though, we wouldn't have sold, you know, over here. So still feel like we worked out well. Let's take a look at comments again. Hey guys, but yeah, I gotta give Jordan props. I mean, he stuck to this the whole time, and the team has been working on this kind of fractal from last cycle. And if this part of it over here lines up where they've been adjusting, that would be something else. I gotta see how they line this up too, though, because I'm not 100% sure how they got this fit. I can never get it to fit like this myself. But what I see here. That's an obscenely sexy chart on the screen. Yeah. Imagine if it pulls us. See, this would be, yeah, I mean, 64,000 by September, and then maybe a little bit of a dip. If it goes off to this top end up here, the bottom end of it would be 240,000 by the end of the year. I would accept that. That would be acceptable to me. I will tell you what's interesting about this is I would anticipate, what is the 30th? The 30th is the end of this week. I would anticipate sometime this week, yeah, dip. What I'll be waiting for, I'll tell you all this. You know, I'm fully positioned back over here. I missed. It could have done maybe slightly better. We did get some dip buys in this area on BITW and GBTC because fortunately I had a strong thought that it would dip down that night and then recover and bounce back up the next day. So I wanted to buy before close this day. Well, obviously it dipped, but it did this reverse Bart Simpson pattern and took off. So I never got any of that price. I actually did buy. If y'all remember, I bought right here. And I'll show you, mistakes. I don't know if it was really a mistake, honestly. I bought coming into this support right here. And then it started to go up, and I moved my stop to break even as it broke 31,000. And when it took off, I got stopped at break even. So I technically did have an order. I mean, I could have, if I just would have held it, but, or lowered my stop loss way down here. But I still feel like this was the right play. And then we waited for it to get outside here, and I entered again at 30. I come back into 31,600, 31,700 right there. So I could have had an entry here, But we got to stop that break even and end up with the entry over there. You know, at the end of the day, I think that's the right move. It would have been nice to grab this very bottom, but you know, I don't know how you would have done that. Realistically, it'd been really tough to try to. Now, you have to do really low time frame on a 4 hour. That'd have been almost impossible to realistically catch. I guess if you drew it, yeah, no, there's just no way, no way. All right, CTM all day long, bull trap. Oh, I don't think this is a bull trap now. This is a reversal. And here's why I don't think it's a bull trap. This wedge, like, I know I had arguments, not arguments, won't call them that. They were just, you know, friendly debates on Twitter with some very well-respected traders about, and Jordan and I were both involved, and a few others were involved in kind of debating whether this wedge pattern was appropriate or if this should be drawn as a, you know, as a triangle, so forth and so on. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you want to draw it as a triangle or as a wedge. I feel like a wedge is more appropriate, but you know, I think some people with some bearish bias wanted to draw it as a triangle because there was a higher chance that a triangle breaks to the downside than a wedge. Wedges have a higher percentage chance of breaking to the upside than a triangle does. So I think that's why they were arguing that that was a triangle, not a wedge. I see it as a wedge. And the reason is if I'm going to try to draw a pattern, you know, in between price action, not on outer wicks, I'm going to draw it on daily closings. This is exactly what I did here, right? So this is all, you know, there's 1, 2, 3 closings, or I can drag this up over here. We can, but ultimately the reason I don't think this is probably more indicative of the actual price action, that bottom close price there and that bottom close price there. But the reason I don't think it's a bull trap is because we broke this pattern, and just the odds here now favor a bounce. And then we'll see where it goes. And it could be, this is my, you know, we have the most important trend line, which very much lines up with my magic SMA, right? This is your most important trend line in crypto on the Coinbase roughly. This is wick to wick. This is outer wicks, not trying to be crafty. If you draw it from the bodies, again, looks similar. But I won't be real confident until we take back the 120-day SMA, which is a little bit better barometer of long-term, you know, momentum. So this still could be, in theory, pure charting without looking at the longer term. What's up? Thanks for the B-Rad, Monique. Without the longer term, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought with the B-Rad. The B-Rad got me all messed up here. Yeah, so taking over the 120 is a stronger, you know, indicator of long-term momentum, and so we've been below it. So I guess in theory, from a traditional charting perspective, this breakout here, and this is my, you know, right here really should be probably an area to look for to take profit, but it came into it so fast. Yeah, right there. Those are the daily closures. That's your take profit. If your initial take profit. So we got to see how price does coming into that area right there. We've broken all this other daily stuff here, assuming we close up here and doesn't become a big wick, which I don't. This big of a breakout, there's something to it, right? It didn't break out this hard just on a short squeeze, and it's going to go right back down. As far as I can tell, the news fueling this is Amazon, right? So we saw momentum building through the day. Let's go to the 4 hour. Yeah, we saw momentum kind of building through the day here. I think early this morning is when was late yesterday. This is when the reports of the Amazon stuff started to surface. And then I don't know if this was somebody getting more, that there was some kind of confirmation on the Amazon news. Amazon's getting into Bitcoin payments, but when it broke this level here, man, that's when all the shorts probably had their stops right there above 30. Let's go to the daily here. This is that Heath level, right? Yeah, when the daily snapped that Heath level, when the daily closed above that Heath level right there, that's when the short squeeze was on. So the daily closed right there above that Heath level. You see this one day. Here we go. This. So when the daily took out that Heath level, then the short squeeze was on. But yeah, this price action here, I wouldn't call this a bull trap, especially now that we've definitely closed above the 50-day SMA. So now we've regained some momentum. This is going to be an area to watch how price reacts coming into 40,500. It should continue to that point and then get some resistance there. We'll see how long it takes to take that out. There's a lot of resistance right here. That line, and these SMAs. So most likely, you know, that looking at Jordan's chart, what's interesting is like right above where we're at, right about, what is that? He's got 34,000. Is that, wow, hold on. Yeah, our current prices, we're talking resistances at 40 to 44. All right, take a look at Jordan's chart here. If this plays out, it'd be nuts, huh? Yeah, it's only 37,000, so we're well above that. So we're kind of up here already. We're talking up here, 44,000-ish resistance. We're already, you know, at 38,000. So we're already at the top of this right here. So maybe we stop at 38,000 and I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if we consolidated in this area. This should be support now, though. 35,306 is your next level of major support because you had a daily closure above that. Let's zoom in on that. Right? So here's the deal. Here's the dealio. This level right here is now pretty strong support because this daily closed above it, right? And then so that daily 35.4 will be support. This level will be mild support because we have taken it out on, I think, a couple of, you know, lower time frames. There's a couple of 1 hours still pushing up a little bit. A 4 hour we haven't closed above it yet. But let's go to the daily there again. So that daily level is kind of yet to be seen if this ends up, if we end up closing a daily and some longer time frames above this level. You would think that we'd be hard pressed to come back down from 38 to 35, but this is a lot of volatility coming in here, so I don't want to make any predictions on that. But there's your kind of support zone right there. So yeah, we could go ahead and just stall out here and come back to the support zone and then resume. We could continue our push up into 40,000 and then consolidate under resistance. Would be another kind of realistic possibility, and then keep pushing through. Obviously, if we did this, if we consolidated under resistance and then broke out above these areas here, that would be incredibly bullish. That would be like insanely bullish. And the reason we can go ahead and have a really big move without a lot of pullbacks is because we just did this, right? This is why when you have a big sell-off like this and then consolidation, a snapback to the upside can bounce really hard because, you know, you have this symmetry here of you were over here, you had this sell-off, built up, you know, momentum, and it can really pop to the other side. Because if you think about it, what happened was you had a bunch of market participants who were very happy to be buying through here, right? It traded through here for a while, so the market at some point valued this instrument in that range. And then it quickly marked down that asset to this range. But if there's fundamental valuation shift, it's real fast to get back into this range. So something, you know, Amazon making some big splash, you know, would be definitely a catalyst to really push this thing the other direction. And when you know, we were all talking about this, right? The other day, we saw this news. Jordan and I both tweeted something about Jordan from Conquer Trading Investing. If you guys are new with us, don't know what I'm talking about, check out the 2 recommended channels on my main page. But Jordan and I both tweeted within a minute of each other. I didn't see his tweet. He saw my tweet right after he tweeted his, and you know, so hey, we tweeted basically the same thing. But we both noticed a couple of bullish articles, and both of us posted, I think, the same article and said, "Look at this coming into the weekend. Now we've got these, you know, we got these bullish articles coming into the weekend. You know, the news, the tide of the flow of news is changing." So I would almost think that this Amazon thing is not the very first. This Amazon is going to be more than enough. If Amazon's rumors are true, this is way more than enough to push us back out of all this resistance, right, and get us trending back upward and get us momentum. So yeah, that news is definitely enough alone to carry us outside of the 120. So yeah, so I wouldn't call it a bull trap too, because the news that's fueling it is I mean, it's literally the largest. I think Amazon is the largest company in the world now, right? Fortune 100. Pretty sure they are. Hold on. I have to believe they are. Let me just pull it up real fast. Fortune 50 list here. The Fortune, it cannot be ServiceNow, cannot be number 1. Something, I'm looking at some wrong list here. Fortune 500. Can y'all tell me Walmart, then Amazon? Okay. All right, number 2. Number 2, the second largest company in the world, getting into Bitcoin payments. You know, that's more than enough to push this right back above all these levels. But if we get 2 or 3 news items, I mean, it's like this is how a chart like this can play out. You get Amazon is enough to give us this like first this big move up to 63,000. Amazon alone could definitely take us back to the prior all-time high, right? Like I think everybody agrees. Like there's no sane person that if Amazon's getting big into Bitcoin, there's no way that news can't take us back to the all-time high. And then we consolidate there, and then a flurry of Google or some other unexpected news could definitely. That's how this chart could play out. So I wouldn't call it a bull trap just because the news behind it. Now, right now, I don't know if it's been confirmed. So this could be. It would be a bull trap if this is buy the rumor, sell the news, and the news comes out to be either not true, or it's not as not what we think it is. It's a lot minor. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna allow certain cryptos and certain very remote use cases. Then maybe sip a little water here. Let's take a look at comments though. I'm going on a rant about somebody asked the question though. Do I think it's a bull trap? I mean, on a really low time frame, maybe. But I would expect us, if I was watching this chart, right, if I was actively trading this chart, which I'm not, right, I'm set, I've got my entry, and I'm waiting for things to clear up to enter leverage, right? So I got to get above all this resistance. I'll be working on playing leverage, but I got to get out there first. So for me, I'm just kind of just chilling and watching. On a really short time frame, of course, we could come into the 4,500 resistance and come back down. If you call consolidating in this range before breaking up a bull trap, then maybe. But if Amazon's fueling this, I don't see any reason this is a bull trap. All right. 111 million of shorts liquidated in 10 minutes. That is something else to behold, huh? We haven't seen, I'll tell you, I don't think we've ever seen a short liquidation. I'll have to go look at the charts tomorrow when I get a chance to really analyze things, unless somebody in chat knows. I don't think we've ever seen a short liquidation that's going to be this large in Bitcoin's history, just because you think about it, people weren't going to be aggressively shorting, and really, the futures market hasn't been as mature as it is until this whole cycle, right? And maybe over here, these pops, you might have got something, but, obviously on this big of a run-up, you're going to have a much bigger, short contingent coming down off of a major peak like this, right? So I would have to imagine this is going to be the biggest short squeeze we've ever seen in Bitcoin's history coming up here. And it's not done, guys. This other thing, too, this is Sunday night. If this is a short squeeze and this persists, this is only just getting started. There's no way that, the handful of liquidations that we saw here, there's going to be covering coming in as New York gets to work tomorrow, right? So you still got, we're in the Asian session, you still got New York and London to go. So, yeah. And if the Amazon news is fueling this, there's going to be a lot of buying. So it's going to get pretty wild the next 2 or 3 days. I don't know. I have to really analyze the Amazon news and see. Comments. Let's go back to comments. The insider suggested that this was a decision made from the top of the organization, referring to the founder, Amazon executive chairman, Jeff Bezos. Yeah, okay. According to the source, Bitcoin will be the first crypto accepted. Still, the corp determined to add another popular digital cryptocurrency to its future, including ETH, Cardano, and Bitcoin Cash. They need to do something with Cardano, that's for sure. Now, thank you guys for the comments. Elias, thanks. Yeah, I also saw a little bit of news blurb about this, that apparently Amazon's also looking at deploying their own token. So most likely they're going to deploy that on Ethereum or Cardano or something else. Maybe even Binance Smart Chain, I don't know. But we'll see. I don't Bcash. I'm not going to go there. Also saying Amazon will come with, yeah, that's it. Thank you. Will come with their own coin in 2022. That's bullish for probably, unless they develop their own platform, which would be a lot more work than they probably want to put into it. They're gonna, so keep an eye on what platform they decide to deploy that coin on. But that'll definitely be some fuel for probably Ethereum initially. But I could definitely see Cardano being the platform that an Amazon will deploy their coin on. Yeah, I could see that for sure. at the top of a descending parallel channel. Thanks, James. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, we're going to have some work to do to get out of. We're not, I mean, this is not like, don't FOMO in here. Like, this was your opportunity at the bottom of this wedge, or whatever you want to call this, whatever this was. That was your opportunity. Right now, it's best, my opinion, not financial advice. Did I start with that? If I didn't start with that, I'm doing terrible at this. But this is not financial advice. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Everything you hear here is just my opinion. And if you take blind trades based on things that you hear me talk about tonight, then you're probably going to lose all your money and end up living in a van by the river with Doge and Boneholder. All right. Baby Doge is a thing, apparently. Yeah, it's not a thing for me, but yeah. I like puppy dogs. I'm sure the baby Doge would be really cute. Really cute. Speaking of New York, can't wait to see what Yes, thank you, James. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait to see what my BITW and GBTC look like tomorrow morning. That's going to be en fuego. It's going to be nice. All right. Incredible run, but max pain, 36K for options. Could be a pump and dump from the institutions. Right? It could be. It could be. Definitely, you know, we're not out of the woods, right? This is my line in the sand right there, right? And look, you know, when we get above that and close above it, then I'll feel much better. And especially when we get this thing, what I want to see is us closing above it and this to go this direction. All right, get price action up here. I'll be starting to take some light leverage very carefully based on traditional patterns. When we get this curling back upwards, I'll feel a lot better, and I'll be probably a little bit more aggressive. Any entries early above this will be very tight stop losses, very small entries. As we curl that back up, there'll be bigger entries, especially if we come back into it and resume off. Bigger entries as we move on, right? So, but that's my line. That's where I would, you know, and this perfectly lines up again with this trend line of this touches right here. So that I think it's a really good place just to be patient and wait and see if we break that. For any sort of more aggressive than just spot, you know, dollar cost averaging purchases. But yeah, if we draw this as a parallel channel, I just drew that there. You can see the price action. So yeah, I don't see, if I draw it as a parallel channel, I see it as a breakout, and then yeah, we're coming into this part of the channel. That's the most important trend line, right? That we call it. Jordan's been calling it. I'll give him credit for that. I didn't come up with that name. He did. All right. We'll make these lines line up here. Actually, let me do this right. Sorry, guys. 1 second. That touch. All right. Pretty close. All right. Let's take a look at that channel that you're talking about there. I like this trend line because you can see how the price action, these touches here, definitely were pretty on that, lined up to that. Let me go to the daily closes. Yeah, so the close right on it, and then some touches right on it, and then another. You know, there's not an exact science on this side here. I've never liked this bottom trend line. I've never really known what to do with this one, by the way. I keep trying to line this up, and I don't know that I've ever found something I really like. But anyway. Close enough. Is that what you're talking about there for the channel? We broke above that so far. Yeah, I mean, you're really stretching it to find price action. That would be another... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe... Yeah, this is what I would draw it as, the outer touches of those wicks. Or you could do it as closes here. Get a little bit different angle on that. Let's see how that angle lines up. So I take the closes, daily close over here, and I line it up on the daily closes, and then I focus on closing prices. You know, I still don't see anything cutting right through right where our price action is now. That really, maybe a little bit, yeah, maybe that's a little bit better. I don't know. I see a pretty big breakout here. Obviously, we had this peak here, and again, we talked about this is going to be the major resistance for now. We need to clear. Let's see what the weekly levels look like real fast. Yeah, we kind of already broke this weekly level, so in theory, if we close, obviously we can still close below this. We got a long way to go, right? So that's still going to be weekly resistance. You know, short term, we don't even have a 4-hour close above that. That could be your consolidation range right there. But we are kind of resuming up here. Yeah, I think this squeeze has got more ahead of it, honestly. And now you've got people who are just coming in and just covering. All right. I wish I bought more GBTC Friday. To the moon from New York. Evening, all. It's unconfirmed. Okay, the Amazon thing's unconfirmed, but this is like, you know, the unconfirmed news on Amazon was a little bitty like wiggle. This is a huge move, so I would have to imagine that there's probably a lot more substance to the rumor based on this move. And maybe it just the technicals line up and it pops, but the other thing too is that Amazon did post, you know, a job posting for a lead, blockchain lead. So I mean that's a confirmed posting. So unlike the Apple buying a Bitcoin unsubstantiated rumor, which was really nothing, it was just pure rumor and speculation out there. The Amazon thing has at least some real merit because we know that they did post a blockchain lead job posting. So they are most certainly getting into the space somehow. And, you know, now the news is coming out as what that is. It's payment processing with Bitcoin, which is incredibly bullish because that's going to soak up a lot of supply as they probably already, some of these whales that we've been seeing buying crazy amounts very well might have been Amazon this whole time, right? And they were just getting their base filled out to be able to process these transactions. But also, you know, if I'm Jeff Bezos, I've got a very successful company with a lot of cash flow, and I'm sick of, like Elon talked about in the B-Word event, if I'm sick of seeing in certain areas of the world, you know, in Europe, my money is dwindling because there's negative interest rates, you got to do something. So putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet, you know, it just makes all the sense in the world. With all the earnings reports this week, some whales might have heard some info about companies buying BTC. That's very true. Thank you, Scott. What do you think about BTC ETH dynamic? Very good question. Somebody asked me, first of all, they asked me on Twitter, the question was, where do I think that we're going to get our next entry signal? Now, clearly I don't know. Nobody does. But I take 12-hour entry signals, right? So our last, you know, this would have been an entry signal over here potentially. We're not really in an uptrend. So for me, I was wanting to take a more aggressive breakout. That was it down there, right? So on this Coinbase feed, that was my 12-hour entry signal. I actually was more aggressive and bought in the Heath level, come back in, and then bought also the breakup. But, you know, what I'm looking for is something just like this. Now, at this point, we already had our pattern breakout. So my guess is that, you know, again, I drew on this other chart. Let's go to our daily here, go back to daily level. Okay, so we've got this support here, we've got this resistance up here. There's one more level to look at, that's the weekly level. Which on the Coinbase feed, there's your resistance on the weekly, which is what we ran into initially. Right there, 39,000. There's your resistance on the weekly on the Coinbase feed, which is I would trust more than the other feed I was looking at earlier. All right, so I think it's a daily support. So realistically, most likely we're going to get some entries right in this range. So we should run into resistance here at 39K. It should come all the way back to 35.8-ish. So, you know, that's going to give you an entry signal potentially if we do that. No promises that we're going to come back that far because it looks like it's wanting to break above this level. And then if that's the case, then we're talking of consolidation between 39 and 40,500. And this might be your next entry signal. So we'll see. Obviously, it would not surprise me to pull back all the way to here. And frankly, for the position I have on here at 31.7, I'm going to have to put us in profit stop loss at like 3,500. I'll give it a good couple of support levels, but I'm going to have to take profit because if we drop below this level, just as a small side note, If we close below this level right here, we're probably coming back all the way to 31.7. But that would mean if we were to break 35,000 on the downside, that would mean that the rumor was unsubstantiated most likely, and you know, then it's just a matter of reassessing everything where we're at. You know, this pattern breakout, maybe we watch it as it comes back into the pattern and see if it resumes off of that type of thing. It might come back to 31.7 and then resume up, and then we have some more entries. So you know, you can believe I'll be watching for this level for potential take profit at this point. I'll have to do some more work on that. That's what I'm seeing right now. The other question that I just had was what do I think about ETH BTC dynamic? Let's talk about that piece. So I answered the first question. Where do I think we could get entries? I've been saying for a very long time I expected a bounce in Bitcoin dominance. Right. So this is what happened. If you remember September, so we had DeFi summer, right? So we had August, September of 19. Right here, this pop right here is DeFi summer, where Ethereum, this whole drop, right? This is when Ethereum was really strong versus Bitcoin for DeFi summer. And then Bitcoin broke out at post-halving, went on this huge run, big dip right there. Big pop up to 74. Bitcoin was just to the moon early January, and alts were just like, some alts were even going down in value while Bitcoin was going up, right? That was happening because people were just aggressively rotating. I expect another one of these moves right here. This is what I expect to happen right now. All the way up to probably 57, which is the support level. So I'm looking at, do we come into that level? And this is where I'll start to really eye some alts. I'm waiting for us to break 50. In theory, if a lot of the market dynamics end up changing this cycle, as people theorize, we could come into some resistance at 50 and curl over. I'll watch that. We've broken out of this pattern, though, that I've been watching, right? I drew this little, you know, pennant here, and we're breaking the upside of this pennant, as I expected. So, yeah, I would expect Bitcoin dominance in general, which is driven mostly by the relationship to Ethereum because of Ethereum's dominance compared to other altcoins, right? Ethereum is so huge and dominant in its space. So this is largely an inverse ETH chart, but this is what I watch to give me that insight. So in theory, I'm waiting for us to at least come up into here and maybe all the way up into, say, 61 on a huge move by Bitcoin, on a big breakout by Bitcoin. And then I'll see how this interacts and see when we get confirmation of rollover, just like we did here. Same exact thing. We were pretty heavy Bitcoin. When we saw this rollover here, this is where I started playing alts real heavy on this confirmation of breakdown right there. And then we played alts heavy all the way. Did we start to sell it here? What is this? May, March? Nope. April. Yeah. I got out too early, so I started rotating out of alts over here. A little early. But then I think ultimately we did end up rotating back in, whatever, you get the point. This big move, we caught a lot of alts versus Bitcoin trades. It was beautiful trading. I'm waiting for the reverse. Now I'm waiting to basically start. I'm heavy in Bitcoin as of right here. I'm looking to ride heavy Bitcoin to either here or here and get the meat of this beautiful move. And then as this curls over, I'll be getting back into altcoins as altcoins start their alt season phase 2. So that's what I'm looking to play. Let's go look at the ETH BTC chart to really answer that question. And you can see, if I go to my BLX chart, we'll overlay the Ethereum chart here in a second, and you'll see very clearly, you know, in a historical context, why it does what it does and what we expect. All right, so I'm charting a potential, you know, triangle, maybe pennant. I don't know what you call it, what I want to call this. It's more of a triangle, right? If it breaks to the upside, it'd be a beautiful upside break, right? You got a beautiful flagpole, huge move, take you right up, you know, probably up above this, that measured of a move at that flagpole, take you up, all, you know, above this 0.085 level possibly. So if we do get a break up to that side there, you better believe I'll be playing Ethereum. I expect it. My expectation currently, let's go to the weekly. My expectation currently is that we actually end up breaking down, much like here's last cycle. Here's the last. So this was the 2017 cycle, right? So this was June 2017 when Ethereum went on its major rampage versus Bitcoin, and then it was just, you know, a strong downtrend from there, bottomed out, toward where it first had resistance, right? So it caught resistance. You know, this prior resistance over in back in 2016 is where it caught support. It reversed on it, and a nice little second pop for alt season 2. Okay, that was January 2018. So remember, Ethereum versus Bitcoin was actually higher way back in 2017. Everybody remembers the big run up in 2018, but the ratio Ethereum to Bitcoin was higher over here. All right, so I expect something similar to play out here. I expect that we got this big pop here, and possibly, I mean, I guess there's a world that this move right here is equivalent to this move right here, right? And we break up to the upside, and it just goes bananas. If the flippening is going to happen, if Ethereum flips Bitcoin, it's going to break out of this pattern and go on a rampage even higher, right? So if the flippening is going to happen, you're going to have some similar artifact like this. So I'm watching it either way. I will play it either way. It doesn't matter to me what happens. If it breaks the upside, I'll be in heavy in Ethereum. If it breaks the downside, I'll continue what I'm doing. My thesis is that you see all this, how long this took, how long this price action took. My thesis is that we're currently, you know, over the equivalent of over here in all this price action. And we still have a little bit of a breakdown left when Bitcoin makes this next move. And I'll be waiting for it to come back into resistance. So now, obviously, this move was a lot smaller than this move. So how did that happen? It was a lot smaller than that move. So the downside probably less too. So we'll look for it to come into support through here somewhere. And then I'll be looking to rotate into Ethereum when it comes into support. But it's going to be pretty straightforward play, like a lot of our plays. So what we're going to be looking for is we're going to draw. I'm going to see this price action playing out. I'm going to draw me a parabolic downtrend. And when we break that to the upside, now that's a weekly view, so it's really going to be really hard to see how, you know, where you would have entered there. But you can see very clearly in the daily, it's super straightforward. Almost always these patterns play out like this. It's kind of incredible. But you get this breakout to the upside, a retest of the pattern, and then a resumption. You buy probably, you know, here or here on that resumption off of that pattern, that parabolic downtrend. You break it to the upside, and likely, hopefully, you didn't get you know, too chopped up here. You might have been. This probably would have been a false entry signal right here. I probably would have entered there and ultimately got stopped out of any sort of ETH versus BTC trades. Or I would have had to rotate from my spot back into Bitcoin a little bit. But then you get the second opportunity here on this bounce, and you probably would have entered, you know, you see this bounce here, the retest and the resumption, that would be your entry right there. Right, so you come off this downtrend, you bounce, come into resistance, reset, and then break resistance, and then some, you know, a lot of times I'll do that, right? I will take entries on a hit resistance, consolidate below, and break through. I'll take the breakout because we've had that kind of consolidation. Alternatively, you can wait for it to come back into it. By come back into it, it's probably a better opportunity, and then a resumption off. But we'll have plenty of opportunities to play whatever inversion Ethereum to Bitcoin has the second round. The people talking about the flippening happened. I want to talk on this for just a second. Opinions on misconfigured attraction to an LTC entry. Nathan, go see our back and forth. We got a little bit more contentious than I would have liked. I didn't mean it to be contentious, but I did jokingly say, hey, buy Cardano instead. And I was kind of being just joking because I didn't know it was a whole thread. Honestly, I thought it was just a post he posted. So I just posted back, well, hey, instead of, you know, Litecoin, take a look at Cardano, basically, was the idea. I think Cardano will smash Litecoin. That's just my opinion. Litecoin is a great trade. It's a very liquid asset. It's available lots of places. It is great for trading. I'll show you my Litecoin Bitcoin chart. Okay, let's go to auto. Oh, you know, I've taken a bunch of lines off of here, sorry. But it's in a terminal decline, right? It's been going down versus Bitcoin for a long time. In theory, somebody could say this is consolidating a lot, you know, and it could be. If it breaks to the upside, I'll be there to play it. You better believe it. But I've been really watching this downtrend channel. This is a weekly. Let's go to a daily over here. So we had to, you know, I've had a long-term downtrend channel on this. And the way I play this is, you know, when it gets to the bottom of the channel, I will a lot of times take some entries here that comes into support and then try to get a bounce in this thing. But, you know, on a traditional charting perspective, on a very long time frame, let's go and get that. I can't even fit all this in here in 3 days. All right, so you see these pops it's had. So it's kind of in a terminal decline, and yeah, it could be consolidating. So if we get a break of this outer trend line to the upside, this is going to be a fantastic play. Something very, very positive would have happened for Litecoin, right? But you know, you have this support level that you keep bouncing off of here. The truth of the matter is, you know, if you really zoom in, when you get below here, the gap between there and zero, it's an ever receding event horizon. So here's my worry about Litecoin: is unless it's something really positive happens for Litecoin and it really gains traction versus the Lightning Network from Bitcoin and a few other things, you're going to enter this chasm. That's going to be an ugly place to be. So that's the main line. You can't lose this green line. And I know it looks really close to zero, but when you start trading below it, all of a sudden it's not so close to zero. Because zero, absolute zero is an ever receding event horizon. So you're going to be sucked closer. You're going to be on the wrong side of the black hole event horizon. You never make it to zero because it's like a you know, on a black hole you never you know, you can never make it beyond the event horizon, but cross that line and you're in that black hole basically. I don't know how you put that, but you get the idea. So I'll be there to play an upside, you know, bounce on this, but the reality of the project is it doesn't do anything, technically speaking, that Bitcoin doesn't do, and it doesn't. There's just it's not as, I don't know. I don't see a world where it succeeds with Bitcoin Taproot coming online and with the Lightning Network. I just don't understand how Litecoin can thrive. Now, again, it's a very liquid asset and it's good for trading. And so trading some of these moves here, if we get outside this line, I'll be there to trade it with you guys, and I'll be happy. His best thesis is that we get outside here, and then that would be a potentially humongous move. If we get that, that would be great. So that'd be a great play. That's the two things I'm watching. You don't want to lose that green line, or you're headed for the abyss. And you get above this line over here, and you're really going to break out big. So we'll see what happens. Or you could break out big. The other thing you could do is if you come into this kind of like all week, you pop. That could be just the future, right? These pops just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it just kind of lives in this world where it's a certain fraction of Bitcoin's price. It doesn't ever do much more than, you know, wiggle around down here. But technically speaking, I don't know what it has going for it. You know, Taproot, Lightning, and all the development going on in Bitcoin. I don't understand. I don't see how Litecoin's going to thrive. Now Cardano, on the other hand, right? Look at the Cardano BTC chart. I'll just show you ADA versus LTC. All right, so ADA is definitely winning versus Litecoin. It's now above this key support level. You know, there is a realistic world where, so unlike Litecoin will never ever be bigger than Bitcoin. Everybody knows that, right? All it ever is, it's a little brother. It's potentially the silver to Bitcoin's gold, which is okay if it stays in that role, and it actually, if there's some use case around it that I'm not aware of, it could actually thrive in that role, and that's just fine. That's just fine if I'm unaware of some use case in that kind of role, then perhaps I'm just wrong, and that's great. That's great for Litecoin holders. I wish you all the best. But I look at this chart and I say, okay, but Cardano, on the other hand, Litecoin will never be able to be bigger than Bitcoin. It will always just be a ancillary play to Bitcoin and have occasional pops, which are great for trading. Great for trading. Cardano, on the other hand, has the opportunity, realistic opportunity, to actually be bigger than Ethereum. Now, that's not my base case. I think that they're both going to thrive, and I think maybe Cardano will be 1/4 the size of Ethereum or something like that. But it realistically has the shot to take out Ethereum and be bigger than Ethereum. Now, Ethereum, there is a world that Ethereum could be bigger than Bitcoin. So you put all those things together, Litecoin can never be bigger than Bitcoin. However, Cardano could be bigger than Ethereum, and Ethereum could be bigger than Bitcoin. So who has more upside, and where is the better play? When you just think that, just the philosophy behind all that. Also, Cardano is a fixed cap, and it has staking, so it rewards people for locking it up, which does incentivize long-term holding more than like Litecoin doesn't. As far as I know, you have to put it like with one of these yield aggregators to get yield on it. You can't stake with it. So and it's not the same dynamic there. And then lastly, again, there is a world that Cardano is the #1 market cap crypto in the world. So when you're looking at like plays for this next round, I think Litecoin's a fantastic trade, especially if Litecoin breaks this long-term downtrend versus Bitcoin. That's definitely worth putting on some trades on, picking up some Litecoin, and trading into your Bitcoin for some Litecoin and see what happens. That's fantastic. But I just don't see the reason to play Litecoin when you have options like Polkadot and Chainlink and Cardano and even Ethereum. I don't see a reason to be enamored with the potential Litecoin trade, which again, at the end of the day, Litecoin versus Bitcoin is it's in a mega downtrend, right? So that's my current thesis. That's my thoughts. I don't disagree with a lot of the thoughts in his thread there. He's definitely right if we do get that breakout. If some of the other things that he says plays out, but when I read his thread, I'll be totally honest with you, it read like somebody who's a little bit newer in crypto. That gets a lot of people who are new in crypto get enamored with Litecoin because it's like, hey, it's a cheaper Bitcoin. It's like Bitcoin but cheaper. I can buy some of them. But if you're the other piece of it is one more small thing to consider is that unless Litecoin has some realistic, large institutional adoption for some reason, Litecoin, if it's driven to really move the market cap how we need it to be moved. Sorry, I'm flipping songs here. That song was killing me. In order, where crypto is at now, right, with a total market cap of 1 trillion, right? We're getting into valuations now. To be able to move crypto's market cap, you do need probably more than just retail. And you need some serious buying, right? And so where is the serious institutional buying of Litecoin going to come from? I don't see that necessarily happening. Obviously Bitcoin. Obviously Ethereum already has big players buying it. And if Cardano were to seriously start to compete with Ethereum and be a real competitor to Ethereum, it's going to be one of the other big ones that institutions are going to be looking to buy and build on. On top of that, like I said, I can see Amazon actually going with Cardano to deploy their coin in 2022. So, if you get some massive adoption plus big players are buying it, that's going to be a lot of money being poured into that ecosystem. Where is that going to come from for Litecoin? I don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't know where it's coming from. So you need institutions to push this beyond $1 trillion market cap to 10 or $100 trillion market cap. That's the way I would look at it. Has anyone ever told you sound like a comedian Gary Owen? No. That's funny. I hope that answered your question, Nathan, without being... I don't want to be disrespectful of misconfigure his work. Great work. Great thesis. Well put together. I like his thoughts. It's a great trade. That's where I'll leave it. It's a trade when the setup is there. Like right now, the setup is not there. You're coming in to support. Also, probably not the worst time to take a stab at it. It's coming in to support here to see what happens. But, the other thing is you could just do this. Like nothing says it has to move very big. It could, but buying into support here, it just means you don't have a lot of downside. I don't see on this chart it's yelling at me that there's a huge upside until you get over here. Which if we just pedal along over here, it's December 2022. If we have Alt Season 2, then maybe Litecoin's one of the huge winners in Alt Season 2, and I'll be there to play it. All right. Go talk to your wife with that mouth. What'd I miss? All right. Thanks, Brent. I'm going to start here from that comment. Is Baby Doge a thing? Algo. Baby Doge a thing. Algo is, I hear Heath keeps trying to short Algo. I think it's not going too well for him. Let's take a look at Algo's chart. It's going to look like every other. Yeah, Algorand's okay. I mean, it's kind of it's fast, and they have smart contracts. Whoop-de-doo. There's a lot missing on it. It's okay. It's broken out this pattern. Held the support right here. Yeah, I mean the chart's looking pretty good, but I'm sure I haven't looked at altcoins yet because I just got on here and we'll do other things. I'm sure there's a bajillion other altcoins that look fantastic for breakouts. Let's go look at Ethereum. Yes, I mean I did add some ETH. You know, I bought some back from what we sold up here, but Bitcoin's still doing its thing up here, kind of consolidating, maybe trying to bull flag a little bit. All right, Algo, evening all, blah, 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 blah. Rye opens it, pumps and dumps, leaves your wife because you said it's illegal. Chart's looking nice again, thanks for your work. Oh. Somebody in the chat said it's illegal? Okay, well, I don't know what's illegal. On LTC, bulls say faster, more efficient, more energy efficient. Yeah, sure, it is, but it's not truly decentralized like Bitcoin is. So here's... Litecoin is, like, has about twice the transactions per second of Bitcoin. Whoop-de-doo. Cardano has 10,000 times that. Like, whoop-de, you know, or Matic can do a couple thousand times, or Loopring, or, you know, whatever. At scale, the Litecoin doesn't support the scale you need to support a global commerce system and microtransactions for all these IoT-enabled devices that we were, you know, look at like what IOTA was trying to solve, and HBAR and Nano. These things, these other smaller chains can do 10,000, 100,000 transactions per second. What we need is something that can scale to 1 million plus transactions per second. I don't care that Litecoin can do 20 whatever it is right now versus Bitcoin's 14. And when Bitcoin goes to Taproot, in theory, we probably can get it to about 20. We can stuff enough information in a block to get about 20 transactions per second. So when Bitcoin gets to Taproot, and if Litecoin gets upgraded here, then we're doing what, 30 or 40. You need. Okay, great. So you go from the 40 transactions. How do you get to 100 million, right? Or 10 million, or 1 million transactions per second? Well, you need layer 2. So either way, it doesn't matter what base layer you use. Lightning can do it, and you'd have to do a Lightning network for Litecoin. So it doesn't matter that it's faster because you need a layer 2. That's the point. And then secondarily, Bitcoin is the only truly decentralized crypto. It doesn't have a leader. There is nobody that's the figurehead of it. It's completely decentralized. Nobody actually knows who Satoshi is, although it's probably Hal Finney or Adam Back, but that's beside the point. But we don't know for sure who it is. And it's the largest network, right? Network effect and the organic nature in which it came to life. So Litecoin may be slightly lighter weight, and it may be slightly faster transactions, but it's completely irrelevant. Those two talking points are completely irrelevant because you need something else to supplement that. And the base layer is never going to be fast enough anyway, so it doesn't matter. So anyway, I hope that answered that. Are gold and silver moving at all? I don't know. Let's go look at that. The DXY is starting to break down a little bit here. Let's see what happens. Is this a little false breakup here? Let's see what happens with that. Gold and silver look really boring. Really, really boring. Why did I put silver written on here? I don't know. But that is so boring. They've done a whole lot of nothing. Silver did break to the downside of this kind of pennant I had here. Bitcoin's breaking up, silver's breaking down. Gold is doing a whole lot of nothing. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. All right. Gold and silver moving at all. And like you said before, DeFi is likely to take a hit as government regulation steps in. Yes. Oh, hey, Michael, let's get your whole stream here. Hi, Brandon. I bought some Litecoin today, not much at all, but Bitcoin pumped and I went into Litecoin. Okay, fair. Another good way to play this, right? When Bitcoin pumps first, the Bitcoin dominance will tend to break out, And then you'll have some consolidation of the Bitcoin dominance, and this gives altcoins a chance to run, right? So if you're trying to play catch-up, another maybe good use for trading with Litecoin and other coins is to try to play catch-up on Bitcoin as Litecoin BTC on a really low time frame comes into support. Let's go to the 4-hour. You see how it fell off here and it bounced a little bit. There's probably some support. And this is the main support I'm watching, right? If Bitcoin breaks out and you're playing catch up a little bit, you can try to catch a fall on the Bitcoin chart on one of these. Buy that coin, and as it bounces back, you can try to play catch up a little bit and maybe rotate that back into Bitcoin or whatever, however you want to play that, right? That's an idea. So Michael, good call there. I think his pump thesis is right. He acknowledges it's not a real awesome coin, but it has the mania infrastructure behind it that ADA doesn't have. Like you said before, I think DeFi is likely to take a hit. So that's all fair, very fair, and his thesis is decently put together. So, and again, for me, on a lower time frame, we can probably go down really low time frame. You could probably start to see a hint of the breakout, right? We got this clear pattern here. Get outside this right here. You know, that you've held support one more time. An entry on the outside of this little pattern right here. A very similar pattern, obviously, to what we just had with Bitcoin itself on the USD chart. It's not quite as clean on the wedge there. But, I can draw like this too. It did fall below that, and look, it wicked below and got back above it. So to be symmetrical, I need to draw all these at the daily closes. All right. So yeah, maybe some actionable intel there. So we got this wedge pattern forming right now in Litecoin. We could get a decent move out of this if we break up out of this a little bit. It is coming into support. I mean, it has a lot of historic support there, so it's worth taking a shot at probably on Litecoin as a catch up to Bitcoin. If it were to break out versus Bitcoin here, it could help you catch up if you were not in. Considering I make all the money, it's not legal, pal. Mind your own business. Right makes all the money. FY, my comment was bearish, but I'm 100% in with stop. Stole my wife's phone and bought it back at 7 a.m. Now a hero. Right, I don't know what. Incredible run, but Max Payne said, oh, okay, so Rye, you're playing the Max Payne tomorrow, so you're shorting the pop, and you're looking to take profit at 36K, possibly. You know, on a really short time frame, I'm sure it's probably okay. Just so you know, on this channel and the community here in general, we don't trade on that low of time frame, or most of us don't. Some do, sure. I don't want to speak for everybody. I don't personally trade on like low time frames like this, so I would never try to short this down into here. When I take an entry, I want to hold it for a few weeks, right? So I want to ride a big wave in the market. Like this is how I trade. I want to take this entry here and ride this whole wave, and maybe exit when I see it rolling over here a little piece, and then get back in when I see it breaking back up here and ride that whole wave. So I'm playing, you know, multiple weeks, right? That's how so, you know, if you're trying to short these pops, you know, on a really low time frame, I'm sure this is actually a bit of a no-brainer if you could catch this. I doubt many people did, but as right now it's consolidating, it's a bit of a dangerous play because again, you got New York coming in here before long, and if the rumor is substantiated, this is going to break hard to the upside, and it could break down. The actionable trade, if you're trading on a really low time frame, would be to wait for a break of this little pattern that we got going on here. Break to the downside, get confirmation, you have a little scalp, you take your entry right as you come back into the pattern, and you play this little scalp here, and then the opposite to the upside. The problem is you got this resistance right here, so this is a better downside play for sure. Upside is just continuation, right? If we get we're just in a continuation pattern. It's not really, but that's my opinion. So if you've already shorted, I don't know exactly what you were seeing. It's kind of a blind, just like a blind stab at this resistance maybe. If you caught it right there, probably not the worst idea ever either. But, you know, you better be moving your stop to break even now, because it could break up. All right. What do you think about the MM token? The MM token. I don't even know what that is. So let me go look it up. I'll have to research this. I don't know anything about it. Number 2007. So 2,607. What is it? Anybody know what this is, MM? I don't have any thoughts on it, so I'm going to have to skip that question. Sorry about that. Matic. I love Matic. Matic is fantastic. Matic is a dark horse. So I've got my, I call them the 4 horsemen of Bitcoin. It's Ethereum, Chainlink, Polkadot, and Cardano. You know, the dark horse is Matic because, you know, there is a world. I mean, this is a hot take for you guys. There's a world where Matic is the #1 cryptocurrency in the world. That's a distinct possibility. I mean, it's not highly likely, but it's a possibility, for sure. Or a project like Matic, maybe not Matic itself, but something that's like a Uber layer 2 aggregator that all these layer 1 protocols become very obfuscated, and they're not, you know, it's the layer 2 that taps into a bunch of different layer 1 chains that all the developers end up using the layer 2, or, you know. Matic's fantastic. I need to get me some, but, you know, again, y'all know my thoughts, right? So I played Bitcoin because obviously down here you can't be too aggressive with anything. So, you know, the thing about playing Bitcoin is it's the most liquid. So I have the opportunity to get in and get back out. It's gonna be easier to get stopped out if we get a huge like liquidation spike down. My stops will fill, yada yada yada. If, for example, the problem with playing alts even right now is that if we broke to the downside hard and had like a huge wick down, the slippage on altcoins is going to be a lot bigger just because there's less liquidity. Secondarily, I also think the Bitcoin dominance is going to break up anyway. So I'm really light on altcoins, long story short. I haven't been paying much attention to them. We'll see what develops over the next couple of weeks. Definitely, for sure, Matic is my, you know, I'll put them in the order of my favorites here for you guys. Sorry. There you go. That's my 5 favorite. Just organizing stuff for you guys. Elrond is probably right behind Matic for me. Zill, Vet's up there. Loop Ring. But I got 2 ETH USDs. I don't need 2 ETH USDs. This is a new chart. This is a new list I started, just all the USD charts. I'm going to add a couple here that I need to have on here real fast. We need to have, who am I missing? Elrond, Vet, Loopring, The Graph, Reef, Aave, Chili's, Lit, Zalika, Doge, Raven, Sushi, BNB. Oh, I need XMR. USD. XMR is more of a super tradable. Obviously, I was trading it more back here, over here, looks like. It's a tradable coin. I hold some. This is actually a long-term hold. I never talk about it, and it's actually just locked away. I just hold some because the privacy, the use case around this, it's a really good use case. Another valid point is that Litecoin will have privacy as an option, which Monero is privacy all the time. Litecoin, that's a huge deal. But Bitcoin obviously now will have the ability to do obfuscated transactions, not exactly the same as totally ephemeral wallets like Monero uses, which are completely untraceable. But with Schnorr signatures, we'll be able to obfuscate transactions and make it harder to track for sure. So there's some more privacy built in. It's not as like XMR. And then you can use ephemeral addresses in Litecoin now with the privacy option, which is like the option to be able to check a box and send a transaction XMR-like. I haven't deep dived into it to see exactly the mechanics of it. So that's another positive for Litecoin for sure. If it's, so I do need, just randomly, I just thought of this on the Litecoin topic. I do need to deep dive into what the technical details are and just see what limitations of Schnorr signatures would be versus what Litecoin's actually implementing at a low-level technology. That might maybe, you know, partly change my opinion too. But XMR should be on here. Oh, VXV. They don't have a chart. So yeah, this is my little my micro cap baby. And it's been popping. So I was able to trade this a little bit. So when everything was like really down over here, we had a nice pop on VXV in July. So I did get to play this pop here. I didn't get this first one, June one, but when we started, I drew a line from here to here on this. If I go to Trading View, there's the only way I can get the chart. Yeah, it doesn't work. It breaks. Okay. The exchange I have will let me chart it with the Trading View chart. But basically, if you draw a line from this peak to that peak and down, that breakout there, we got to play that breakout. That was one little play, something I got early this month, my VXV trade, and it's starting to break back up here. But yeah, I recommended VXV way back here when it was like 15 cents, and it's $2 now. We got out of it at right around $2 before. Got back into it over here, and then I sold at 2.30. So now I got to see what's going on here. But I don't have a chart for that. It's another one of my not financial advice. Do your own research. This is a great microcap project. All right. Anyway, I say a lot. It's because I'm live, and yes, I say a lot because I'm talking. If you want to donate 1 cent every time you say Screen is black, by the way. Is the screen still black? Or is it just when I flipped over here to the coin market cap? Is the screen still black, guys? Thoughts on Sol? I don't like Sol. Sol, I don't, at this day and age, new projects that are competing shouldn't have to use something called delegated proof of stake, which is a hack, which is a pseudo-centralization hack to be able to increase transactions, which is, as far as the last time I read up on their white paper, they hit it really well in the technical details, but it's there. They're using decentralized proof of stake for to increase transaction throughput. Let's go take a look here. Let's double check. There's a little blurb on it here. If I see DPOS, the underlying proof of stake consensus blockchain, yeah, it's a proof of history thing, yada yada yada. Brings proof of history. Where is proof of stake? DPOS, proof of stake. Or did they get rid of the delegated DPOS? Tags the DPOS platform. Top DPOS. They call Cardano a DPOS token here too, so that's not really fair. All right, let's see here. Solana. Since this DPOS. There we go. So if I go find it, dig around the white paper long enough. Yeah, Byzantine volatile, blah 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 blah. Proof of replica, ordering. I'll have to dig for this. I need to read up because they may have been going through, like, they may have used DPOS early, just in like their early testnet maybe. But last time I read through this white paper, I found an area that they actually had to go to the delegated proof of stake for core validation. But I don't see it currently clearly called out. It's not called DPOS. Delegation? So they reference delegated proof of stake here in this wiki, but they don't talk about it in the white paper. Okay, well, I gotta dig in this. If they're not using delegated proof of stake, then they're multi. This is basically, so when you combine, you know, like proof of history, proof of work, proof of vital, proof of stake. When you combine proof of replica, when you combine multiples of them together, it's just proof of architectures, and so it's a multiple, right? And that's proof of history. Yeah, so let me go read up on this one more time, because like I said, last time I did a deep dive on it was probably 6 months ago now, and they were definitely using some hacks on the back end, some centralization hacks on the back end to ramp up throughput. Okay, screen never black for you. Cool. Thank you, guys. Screen was never black. All right, thoughts on Sol? Deuces? All right, Michael says, I've been using curved trend lines with great success. Have you tried it before? No, I have not, Michael. Maybe you can share a chart with me. I can take a look. Michael says, I actually didn't even catch the fall. I was transferring more money to crack when BTC started to break out and bought LTC instead. Okay, fair. Fair catch-up play, I guess. I like your community because it only takes 2 or 3 trades per quarter. Who are we talking to here? I'm looking to lean away from DeFi and more toward tokens that look more like Bitcoin for the second half of the bull run. Seems likely that coins that underperform the first half will overperform in the second half. That's a good possibility, Michael. Sure, DeFi might be. Talked about Cardano. I think Cardano's chart. It's holding a dollar support, right? So we're just kind of fighting out, make a dollar the new paradigm low. So it seems to be doing that pretty well. It's like every other altcoin. I'm certain it's going to have this breakout look to it because it's following Bitcoin. So this is ADA USD, so that's looking good. What matters is this chart, right? So yeah, we spiked down like all these did when Bitcoin broke out. They're all going to spike down. I'll look to buy ADA with Bitcoin spot when it comes into support here, and I'll look to add some ADA leverage trades when Bitcoin breaks out fully. And then I'll be adding those leverage trades a couple of different ways depending on where I see breakouts. But ADA BTC is still consolidating, coming into support here. That little that top right there, February, is coming into that support. So we'll see if it holds that. If it holds that and resumes up, then ADA might be a good play. It's like all these others; they're all going to look probably similar. Polkadot got beat down more than most. I have to work on this chart. This is not a chart I've been working on much lately because I haven't been watching it. So maybe we wait for this support or something. Yeah, you see those touches there, those two? Yeah, I'm going to have to start working on some alt charts again. It's not quite time just yet. Bitcoin's got some more work to do, but it'll be getting close soon. I did have a debate with somebody on Twitter that they said that Litecoin was going to $8 and that's where they'd buy it. And I said, I don't think so. I think the $12 support, 12 to 14 support range is going to be too much. And look at that. We bounced right off of that level. Boom. Yeah, there's a 12 to 14 range right there. Those wick lows right there, it's 15. It's really kind of a more like 13 to 15 ranges. I think I said 12 to 14 in the tweet, but I guess looking at it now, it's more like 13 to 15 range. And boom, bounced right off that support. So far, it's got work to do too, for sure. Okay, so we got 6 cents, 7. Thanks for calling it. If I can say less, maybe it'll be less distracting. I don't know. I'm also not doing this really for, to monetize my channel or do anything like that. So if I say a lot, it's less impactful to me unless I were doing this like as a profession. then maybe I'd care more. But thanks for bringing it up, though. I'll do my best. Okay, see now. Open new. So James says, oh, the page. Okay, you open a new page. Cool. Tokens on ETH network scare me. I don't get why people are bullish on ETH. It's like me switching my diesel truck to electric, in my opinion. It's actually a reasonable analogy for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ryan, let me help you with that. Okay. You can compare Bitcoin to gold and Ethereum to oil, but it's a rough analogy. Obviously, oil has utility; it's used a lot, it's consumed a lot, and that's what gives it its value. Whereas gold is a store value, yada yada yada. But Ethereum is a platform on which other things can be built. So, Bitcoin can do that with some scaling solutions, and they're working on it. They're definitely doing that. But Ethereum is well ahead in that space, and it's way ahead. But if Ethereum continues to be the dominant platform on which other applications are built, you can think of it as buying. If Ethereum is like buying, if there were a way to invest in the core internet itself, right, and everything that's riding on it. So buying Ethereum is like buying shares of the internet. And so you would have exposure to Amazon and Google and Facebook and whatever. Think of any other internet. There's obviously the total cumulative value of things that are connected that use the internet as their core business, their base business, are many of the most valuable companies in the world are internet-based companies, right? And some of the most lucrative startups and so forth and so on. So buying Ethereum is like buying a venture capital startup, tokens in Google, Amazon, Facebook, whatever. And what's great about that is, as an Ethereum token holder, you don't have to worry about who wins or loses. You don't care. People can build on the platform all day long, and there's going to be winners and losers. You only ultimately get exposure to the winners, and the losers just lose, and they lose their own money. Like that's external to you. They've tried to build on your platform, they were unsuccessful. It's like nothing happened in the internet when a bunch of .com companies went bust. A bunch of them were successful, so the ones that went bust didn't hurt the internet. They just hurt, right? But so you get exposure. So having Ethereum tokens will give you exposure to all the most successful applications that are built on crypto. Think of it that way. Or most of them. Most of the big players, they're going to be built on Ethereum or maybe Cardano and maybe Polkadot, and that's about it. Really, all these other players are going to be niche players, and maybe they're built on Matic with, it plugs into Algorand and Tron and Cardano and Ethereum and whatever else. But you get the point. Ethereum gives you a really good shot at buying a token that gives you exposure to the biggest crypto companies, the multi-trillion-dollar crypto companies that are going to be coming out of this. Just think about that. There are going to be companies with many companies with trillion-dollar market caps that are entirely built on a blockchain platform like a Cardano or an Ethereum. So there you go. I hope that answers your question about why people are excited about Ethereum. Hi, I sold Ethereum on Friday. Wow, I'm getting crushed. Did you sell it for the US dollar or did you sell it for Bitcoin? Because if you sold it for Bitcoin, you're doing good. But if you sold it for the US dollar, yeah, that's kind of rough. I'm sorry. Let's take a look at Bitcoin's chart. It's just kind of bull flag in here, isn't it? I kind of thought it might do that. Bull flag, consolidate under. This has been so. Things got bullish for me when I saw Bitcoin for the first time in a very long time. Instead of, you see this action, pop, roll over, pop, roll over, pop, roll over, pop, roll over. Well, this is consolidating. Roll over, roll over, roll over. It just kept rolling over, rolling over, rolling over. This is consolidating under resistance. Look at that. You hadn't had a, maybe this right here, but this wasn't a break up. I don't see a break up and consolidate under resistance. I don't see one that long. And the second one, break up, consolidate under resistance. And now break up, and now it looks like we might be trying to consolidate under resistance. That's a completely different feel to the chart than what we've had for months. Break up, consolidate under resistance. Break up, consolidate under resistance. Break up, consolidate. Right? That's super healthy stair step up activity there. All right, I probably need to wrap up here soon. Let's take a look at comments, and then we'll try to close it up here. You're right. I was just joking, having fun. I don't actually want him to change up anything he's doing. Keep telling us he's... Oh, thanks, Elias. I'll make you mod. Appreciate it. Although, Freeland, Fire, and Lave, from what I've seen so far, none of his comments would have bothered me anywhere near enough that I had a moderator step in. I'm pretty freewheeling, like, unless they're like obvious scammers or they're just like absolutely just flaming people in chat, then just let it go. But thanks for being available there. I'm gonna wrap up anyway, so next time I go live, you'll be there though. Oh yeah, Brandon, I was talking about your community. You take more trades than 2-3 per quarter, but it's good. Mindset trade less frequently. Yeah. So on the topic of lesser trades, I mean, you don't need a lot of trades to be successful. It's just the truth. You know, if you're overactive, I just said like now I'm hearing myself say it. Look at that. You know, if you're overactive and you take too many trades, more likely than not, you're taking bad setups and just hoping. And if that's the case, you know, you're just going to get stopped out a lot, and you're going to get paper cut to death trying that, right? So it's just way more advantageous, in my opinion, just to be patient and wait for really good setups. And that's all you need to do, really, at the end of the day. Like, this was perfect that this gave us, look at Bitcoin. All this, if I just, you know, I tried a couple times to buy the dip here, but we lost 120 in the 50, right? You close leverage here, you close spot here, right? And then you just wait. You wait for, normally I would wait for a 50-day breakup to redo spot, and then the 120 to redo leverage, kind of an inverse idea. But we had a perfect pattern here, right? And honestly, we had a good pattern to get out even higher than we did on Bitcoin over here. Probably after this breakout into the all-time high, we probably should have charted this. I actually saw this and I thought about getting out here, but I was caught up in the hopium, and I was like, I think we're gonna bounce. This is probably just a fake, you know, downside. Nope, it was not a fake downside. But you see this is how we would have got it up here, right? If we broke into a new all-time high, I'm gonna show you this, right? Just so we can make a point of this. All right. Price discovery. When you go into price discovery, you draw yourself a parabolic trend line. If you lose that parabolic trend line in price discovery, either you're going to consolidate and break back up and you re-enter, or you break down and you get out. So, Bitcoin was so nice of us to, on the other side, give us the perfect, near perfect entry. Just sit on the sidelines, just patiently wait to your point of taking less trades. If you were trying to trade, this is super hard to trade all this. It was kind of ranging, kind of not. It's kind of sliding downward, not really giving you any real signals one way or the other, right? The breakdown, this was a real signal. Downside's coming, you know, either sell if you're holding or maybe go short if you were neutral and you just want to short it. Great. But look at this. This is the 31, right at $32,000. You couldn't have done much better. It consolidated for us. It gave us a 12-hour, which is my favorite, breakout, retest, resumption, and it was a breakout of a pattern, a retest of a Heath line, and then a resumption. The perfect of all signals right there. That's why I got super bullish and super aggressive right there. That's all you needed. You needed, you know, this breakdown pattern right here, breakout, and this. If all you did was take the best of the best setups in the chart, the best setups in the chart are these two. Break out into an all-time high, lose it, drop below your breakout. So I'm gonna draw the line here where the prior all-time high, the Heath line, the close, roughly. When you lose that parabolic trend line after breaking out to that all-time high, this is a false breakout. You now know right here this is a false breakout. A false breakout either means you're just gonna consolidate and then resume, or it means downside. But this is where you exit right here. All right. Well, it's one trade. This is two trades. If all you did was take the two best trades in the chart, you're doing really good. And the other best trade was over here. Right? So we had all this super long, super duper long. Right? From this peak here, the bear market low here. Right here was the single best trade on the chart on this other side. And it came... Did we get a 12-hour entry? I think we did. Yeah, right here. 12-hour entry right there. And then you got some more entries. I also entered over here some entries. Pretty good ones over here. But ultimately, this entry right here is the best. You see this huge pattern, very similar to what we're talking about tonight. Very similar to the 65K peak. That very long consolidation, you break out of that, you get your 12-hour CTM signal. If all you did was follow the best possible signals, 1, 2, 3 trades. You could have been going to town trading, and I did a lot of trading, and I did. Honestly, we did a little bit better by doing it. But if all you did was take 3 trades, I think anybody would be happy with that performance. 1 trade, 2 trades, 3 trades. That's all you do. That's all you needed. That's all you needed. So yeah, you don't need to take a lot of trades to be very successful. It's kind of the point of that little exercise there. Thank you for the comment. Yeah, Michael's got some knowledge for sure. Yeah, I'm self-conscious, so hopefully it'll make me better. Well, I'm actually, I'll tell you all this, I do public speaking. But when I'm live and I'm just freewheeling, I don't, when I'm prepared, I very conscientiously string my thoughts. I have speaking notes. So I have what I want to talk about as a bullet point. But I have in my head how I want to formulate those thoughts, and I have it pre-planned as to the thought process and the flow of information. And so I very conscientiously avoid saying or any word whiskers. I have a flow of data. I have a flow of information I'm presenting. And I'm also very focused. I just said again. I'm very focused on presenting that information in a logical manner. So I want it to flow very logically. And so I string it together in a very logical manner. So like I said, I do public speaking actually quite often. And it's all planned out. When I have a script and I have a topic I'm speaking on and I have a specific flow, the reason you're getting all these is I'm having to stop and think about and formulate what am I saying next. Like I don't know. It's all come off the top of my head. So a little bit different environment. This is a longer session. We had a nice breakout. I hope everybody enjoyed the longer session. I'll try to turn this into some smaller videos tomorrow so that people can benefit from it. All right. Okay, great insight. I haven't been thinking about it. I'm not a good public speaker and a lot of knowledge because I want to retire. Can you imagine? I'd say because over and over and over again. You got this. You would add to CTM. I also have some original thoughts, but if I were doing YouTube, I wouldn't get such a wide breadth of knowledge from the best of the best YouTube. I'm in CTM a lot, Rye. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining here tonight. It's been a long one. Like I said, I'll try to break these videos up for you guys tomorrow. I feel we've got a lot to talk about. I hope that we found it valuable. And have a good night. And let's light up some Doge-wave on the way out.